Hey guys, I'm John and welcome to Respect Your Intellect. Today we're celebrating 2K subs with a special thank you video and answering a few of your most popular questions. Let's get started. To start things off, I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing and coming along with me on this YouTube journey. By some YouTube channel standards, 2K might look small, but not that long ago we didn't even have a community at all here. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the future holds. One of the things that's being asked most often is what my accent is, since many of you noticed a breathy sound at the end of my sentences on the first few videos. So let's talk about that. For my first 6 videos, including the popular 20 questions video, I wasn't aware at all that this was happening. No one had ever mentioned that to me before then, and I've been speaking English since I was about 9 years old, so it even took me a while to notice it even after people told me about it. Now that I know, I can't unhear it anymore, so I've been working on this to make my video presentations more enjoyable. It doesn't seem hard to control at all since I learned about it, so it's not really happening anymore, but I still want to continue to work on that until it's just muscle memory and I don't even have to think about it anymore. Some of you thought it was a speech impediment, but it really just seems like it's my Canadian French accent that somehow transferred without my noticing it. I don't think it quite qualifies as an impediment like a lisp or a stutter or something along those lines. But anyway, I'll keep working on that and you guys can keep benefiting from more enjoyable video presentations. Next, you guys were asking about my professional background. So in my professional career, I work in computer programming. That career sort of fell onto my lap without my choosing it specifically. Other than that, I've always had a very deep passion for science. Even though I haven't made science my career, I've been studying many aspects of science for about 20 years now in my own time. That obviously means that I don't have as deep a knowledge in specific areas as people who dedicate their entire careers to that field, but I have a very broad understanding of science. I think that's ideal for things like a science-based YouTube channel because it means that I'm more comfortable covering a wider range of topics. I've been very interested in the very small or the very big scale since the beginning, so particle physics and astrophysics are among my favorite topics in science. Next, we have the question of why I'm not interested in debating flat earthers. So here's my view on this. When I began, I thought that logic would be a good starting point to show flat earthers that their model doesn't make any sense at all. Since I started the channel, I've learned that neither logic nor science is enough to convince them of anything. So at this point, I really believe that the best way to help these people is not by bringing science to them necessarily, but rather by taking a more psychological approach, and that's not my area of expertise. That said, flat earthers are not my target audience either. I want to bring science to people that are actually interested in learning. In my opinion, flat earth is not a topic that merits any debates. I mean, even when we were still working under a geocentric model until about 1,000 years ago, they were still teaching that the Earth was a sphere since 2,300 years ago. In almost every way, that ancient geocentric model made a lot more sense than the flat Earth of today. So people can debate that if they want, but on my end, I'm not interested in arguing with people that aren't interested in learning anything and are deeply infected with confirmation bias. In my opinion, confirmation bias can't really have a fruitful conversation with science. While science requires that something can't be proven false to have merit, confirmation bias discards all evidence as long as a single thing seems to support a view. And this confirmation bias often involves not taking all variables into account and performing experiments that are filled with errors. So when it comes to debates, I'd probably be interested in an intellectual debate on something like the multiverse and supersymmetry, which is at the edge of what physics can explain right now, but I won't debate 2,300-year-old established facts. I'm interested in advancement, not regression. I want my role to be about bringing you guys more knowledge and helping everyone connect the dots between different fields of science as well. This is both for helping people fight back against conspiracy theories and to generate or maintain an interest in science for others. I really believe that equipping more people with scientific knowledge, especially about our planet, will help us support each other as we oppose movements like the flat earth that spreads tons of misinformation. Alright, so next I want to talk about the plans for the channel. When I started, I wanted to aim for about 50% of the content to be about pure science, while the other 50% would be addressing conspiracy theories using science. Lately, since the 20 questions video was pretty popular, A lot of the conspiracy content had to follow, so pure science took a bit of a backseat temporarily. If you want to know what I mean about pure science videos, be sure to check out my video about what light is, since that's probably my personal favorite up to now. So for right now, we'll have 3 videos coming up that are still about the flat earth. One will be covering the Netflix documentary Behind the Curve, and the other 2 will be the follow-up to the 20 questions video to finish that series. After that, we'll probably have a few pure science videos starting with interesting things about our planet. I also plan on making a poll for you guys later on to vote on the type of content you like the most. But one thing I'm pretty sure about is that I don't want this channel to be solely dedicated to conspiracy theories. There's so much negativity in those conspiracies, and I don't really thrive on insults, as you guys may have already noticed. Our universe is simply astounding, so there are many things that we could explore and learn about. I've always felt like knowing the building blocks of how things worked helped me to understand things much more easily and deeply as I started learning a new topic. So I wanted to try to do that with you guys and see if it helps you as much as it helped me. For example, if you start by learning about the fusion inside of stars, you sort of have to memorize it to remember how it works. If you learn about atoms first though, it makes you understand the periodic table more clearly and the weight of each element. So you don't have to memorize as much about stars afterwards, you just know how things are connected, and you can mostly refer to the periodic table for an accurate enough answer. So for the last main question, I was asked what I think on how many flat earth content creators are doing it just for the money and intentionally fool the gullible. Along with that, I was asked how many seem to truly believe the earth is flat, or how many are stuck under the Dunning-Kruger effect. So my answer to this is that it might be impossible to know unless YouTube decides to demonetize dishonest content like that. As long as there's money in it, it'll remain one of the main incentives for them to continue. What I think though is that if it ever were to be demonetized, I think we would see quite a noticeable drop. I don't think that all the more prominent flat earthers actually believe it, but I do think that some are too far gone and have too much of a need to feel special to actually drop that belief. You can see a few people in their Netflix documentary talk about how it destroyed their families, and Mark Sargent telling them that their own families are unimportant and just background noise. I mean, this to me is just beyond words, really. But anyway, I think that anyone that's been a flat earther for a significant amount of time is no longer under the Dunning-Kruger effect. Confirmation bias like that can't keep your confidence that high for that long when you see all your efforts torn down all the time. So maybe we'll see at some point who's only in it for the money if the money gets taken away, but before that happens, it's really anyone's guess if they truly believe it or just have a need to feel special. Alright, so now that we've covered the main questions, I was also asked to tell you guys a bit about myself, so I'll be happy to do that. As you know, I have a passion for science, so I spend quite a bit of my free time doing that. On TV, my favorite genres are science fiction, medieval, or fantastic like Game of Thrones, but I also enjoy sitcoms for when I only have 20 to 30 minutes to watch TV. So if you have anything good to suggest in those categories, let me know in the comments. As far as reading in general, I pretty much just read things that are educational. The last book I started on was The Intelligent Investor, but I haven't finished it yet. My favorite sport is tennis, which I usually play 2 to 3 times a week during the summer, and I was also a rock climber for about 3 years until I took a bad fall and tore just about everything in my ankle. Before you feel too bad for me about the ankle, there's a lot of good that followed after that in my life, so I wouldn't trade it. As far as music goes, I enjoy a ton of different styles, but when I don't want to search out specific music, I just put on a radio station that has the Billboard Top 100 playing. And lastly, I have a pretty big interest in chess. I watch chess games just about every day and play with friends whenever we have an opportunity, but I'm not very high rated. All in all, I'm a pretty calm guy that enjoys a healthy ratio between hard work, relaxation, and being outdoors in the summer. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little special. I want to thank you all again for subscribing, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how all this will keep unfolding. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any suggestions about what you'd like to talk about, put it down in the comments or come follow me on Twitter, Facebook. Links are in the description. Until next time, thanks for watching, and remember, respect your intellect.